Hey, what is up, guys? I hope you are doing well. It's Robert here, and we're going to be recording videos over certain requirements that I can teach over video and stuff like that without directly having to like do hands-on stuff. So it'll only be stuff I can lecture about directly, and this is mainly to help y'all review and look at stuff. My main goal here is to mainly do something that y'all can see, like like have someone talk to you directly and stuff like that, and walk you through the process, almost like we're in a meeting, kind of, but not directly. But this is just a resource to help you review and look at the content and stuff like that. Now, watching this will not directly get you the sign off of the book. You will also have to talk to someone that can sign it off, like a scoutmaster and stuff like that. This is just here to help you review and understand the content. So in this video, I'll have multiple demonstrations and explanations of the 4A and 4B requirement on TenderFoot, which is basically simple scratches and cuts and stuff like that. Basically the first aid part of TenderFoot. So let's get into it. All right, before we even go camping, we should have a first aid kit and be prepared for whatever happens, right? So, say we go camping at, let's say when we went to Colorado, right? There's high places, people could get hurt. So, a big part about first aid is identifying the problems and how they can affect you and how to avoid them entirely. So, let's say your friend got injured and he tripped and fell because he got a spiky vine on his arm or something like that. That hurts. So, first thing you want to do, analyze the situation. Don't go running over there and get yourself hurt because you don't want to have two injured people. So, make sure you identify the problem and where it is and stuff like that. So, say, like in Colorado, say if someone fell, don't go sprinting because you're going to fall off too. Be safe and cautious about your area. Another big thing is preventive measures. So basically, before you go out in the sun, think, what should you have? You should have water and sunscreen. Rather not get a first degree burn and dehydration in the same day. It's very important to stay hydrated and cover your skin. Part of it is identifying the local wildlife. I mean, if you get bit by a small turtle, that's going to hurt. But you may be able to identify venomous snakes and poisonous snakes and stuff like that. I said that wrong. I meant to be venomous snakes. But besides that, identify the wildlife. Say we went to Lake Charlotte or Colorado. There's bears at Colorado. And Lake Charlotte, there's alligators. I think even one time we encountered a boar or something like that in the woods. But you need to identify the problems and what kind of animals are there before you encounter them personally until you don't know what to do. But just make sure to take precautionary measures against those. And other than that, just make sure to stay safe and be smart and be careful about the area around you. So let's say you're walking around a forest or something like that, and you trip and snag something on your arm. There's a small wound, nothing too big, nothing too deep. It's just a scrape. So basically, there's multiple things you can do, but one of the first things you want to do is secure the area. Make sure you're not near any like extra vines and stuff like that, so you can trip on and get scratched even more. So, first thing you want to do is sterilize it. You can use multiple things. There's alcohol, which is a very good solution to it. There's things like antibiotic cream and stuff like that. But once you do that, and let's say I'm using alcohol, which I put on a swab, I can clean the wound by rubbing it and make sure it's nice and sterilized. After that, just make sure you put any kind of form of gauze or anything like that, or any Band-Aid. You've probably done this multiple times before, but it's just important to make sure it doesn't get infected. And if you feel fine after a few days and it goes away, then you're perfectly good. So that's how you treat a simple cut. So say you're walking around hiking and stuff like that, or you could just be doing labor with shovels and stuff like that. After a while, you'll notice you have like hard red spots on your hands. That is actually an introductory form of a blister. So once you have a blister, it can be very painful or it can be very mild. Just the important part is not to burst it, and unless it's very necessary, if you need to burst it, or if it does burst, make sure to sterilize it. Same steps as a simple cut, to sterilize it and stuff like that and cover it up. But if you are in the process of having a blister and it's just swelled up and painful, you can use something called moleskin. I don't have any directly with me right now, but it's basically almost like a Band-Aid but for blisters. So once you put that on there, make sure to leave it alone. After a little bit, it'll go away. Just it's very important not to burst that blister and make sure to take proper precautions before you get a blister beforehand, such as wearing gloves or wearing thick socks on your boots and stuff like that. So remember, preparation is always key before actually getting injured. So let's say you and your friends were playing around the fire you weren't supposed to. Or maybe you went outside for a long time without wearing your sunscreen. Well, congratulations, you just earned yourself something called a first-degree burn or a scald. So they can take form in many ways, like a sunburn, or just like maybe got too close to the frying pan or something like that. So you have your burn. Say I was messing around the fire and I touched the scalding hot fire ring, and now I have a burn on my hand. Make sure to identify what type of burn it is. If it's a first-degree burn, which I'll be going over. There's first-degree burn, second-degree burn, third-degree burn. First-degree burn will be like your minor. It's like red, maybe like hurts a lot, but it's not as bad as second-degree and third-degree. Second-degree, you'll begin developing blisters, stuff like that. They'll require a lot more attention and going to the hospital. Third-degree burn is basically you fell in the fire and you've been in there for a couple hours. So you'll be pretty crisp, and you'll definitely need to go to the doctor, and at that point you can't really help them too much without actual medical systems. So say I touched the fire in accident, got a burn right here. So first thing I should do is step away from the situation, get away from the fire, let other people know, and then at that point, let it cool. You can not make sure it's not icy cold water, but make sure it's mildly cold water. Or maybe it would be lukewarm, and have it under the water. Let it flow. Let it calm down a little bit. You don't want cold water because it will like basically polar opposites will end up hurting you more than helping. Another thing you can do is also put aloe vera on it. And depending how bad it is, you can also put bandages on it. Just make sure to cool it down and keep it away from fire for a little bit, and you should be good after that. So that's how you treat first-degree burns. So frostbites can happen multiple different ways. For this example, I'm going to use maybe you're just having fun and you just kept your hand in a cold Coca-Cola bottle for a couple of hours for some reason. So you have frostbite on your fingers. It's bluish, kind of grayish. You don't like it and it hurts. So sometimes you won't even be able to tell you have frostbite until someone notices you're turning into a Smurf. So first things you want to do is make sure get away from the environment. Get out of the Coca-Cola bottle. Just get away from the cold environment. Get into a warm, safe environment. And once you're at that point, you can put it in some lukewarm water. Make sure it's not too polar opposite where it doesn't hurt it more than it helps. You can get them next to a campfire. You just get them gradually warmer. Good thing to do is to put on a blanket or something, get them covered. If they're wearing wet clothes and freezing from that, take off the wet clothes, get them some warm clothes. Make sure to give them some privacy too while they're changing. But generally, just make sure to get them gradually warmer, get them away from the cold. Make sure they don't go out near the cold instantly. Maybe they need to the next day, but just keep them away from the cold directly. So that's how you treat frostbite. Recording. Choking can happen anywhere. So say you're at Golden Corral with your family at the nicest restaurant, right? So you start seeing your family member or friend start like grabbing his throat. Maybe he could be joking. You're not sure. First thing you should ask him, are you choking? Are you choking? And if they don't respond and they're still going like that, or just doing any form of like, it looks like they're choking, act immediately. First thing you want to do is you have the sternum, which is the hard part right here on your chest. Avoid this. This is big no-no zone. You could hurt them. Go below and you'll find their belly button. Once you reach that point, put your thumb there, guide up with your fist, make it a ball right there. Grab your other hand, do that, and push up like that. Back, up, over and over again. If you really think about it, the human body is just a bunch of balloons inside a meat sack. So the pressure from that will send pressure up here to flying whatever object's in there out. So once that happens, it's pretty much solved. Unless they're like experiencing bleeding from maybe it cutting into their esophagus and stuff like that, that might need further medical attention. But afterwards, if they're panicking, sit down with them, ask them if they're okay, just calm them down, see if any of those symptoms occur. If it doesn't, everything's good, and you continue on about your day. So real quick, I'm going to show you how to do it with this person. Well, more of a play toy, but so say you have say this is a belly button. So you stand them up, you do that, bring up the fist, bring the other hand, or back up, and just complete that process over and over again until it goes flying across the room, which will most likely happen. If not, it just kind of, but the pressure will probably send it flying. So, congratulations, you learned the Heimlich maneuver. If someone's choking, make sure to use it. So, that's how you fix choking. Nosebleeds can occur at any time. Sometimes it just happens for people naturally. Sometimes they can get so excited they can start nosebleeding. But whatever the case, you need to treat it. Now, most of the time, this will not be severe. Most of the time, it's just, like I said, just natural. It happens to some people sometimes. But if you do encounter this, make sure to let someone know, or if you're alone, I'll show you how to treat it or help others. So, first thing you want to do, identify the signs. Your nose starts feeling kind of wet. You go, it's not a booger, but now it's just blood. So you check your fingers and it's bloody. So first thing you want to do is you have your nose. So there's a hard part right here where the bone is. A little bit below that, you'll feel like a soft cartilage area. First thing you're going to do is pinch that off, and I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to sound like Squidward. So you want to pinch that, not too hard, just make sure it's firm. And then once you have that, lean forward so the blood doesn't go down your throat and it comes out, and grab a tissue and then cover it up with that. So once you hold that long enough, the pressure from it will stop the blood flow and help it clot a little bit up there. And the napkin will help collect it so you're not just dripping all over the floor. So once that happens, if it stops after like 2 or 3 minutes, nothing too prolonged, like an hour or more, then at that point you definitely need to go to the ER or something like that. But it happens to a lot of people, and it's just something common. Hey guys, so I've noticed post-editing this is getting kind of long, so I've decided I'm going to cut this to part 1, and there's going to be part 2 coming out soon, covering over basically the mosquito bites and poisonous bites and common animals and plants like poison ivy, stuff like that in the next video. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this part, so yeah, the part 2 should come out relatively soon, probably within next week. So I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all had any criticisms or what I could do better, I understand the audio was kind of gunky, so there's not much I can do to fix that currently. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and hope to see y'all soon. Bye.